I hear a lot of. Okay. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I hear a lot of feedback. Now it's better. All right, so forgive me as it's Friday night, so my brain is like probably only 50% working, but it's fine. So quick introduction of myself. So my name is Feng. So now I'm the APAC regional head for Infusion. So Infusion is investment management solution provider. Basically, our clients are hedge funds, asset managers. So we give our clients a full front to back solution, including trading, compliance, portfolio management, risk management, accounting, analytic, and also outsource middle back office services. So it's a full front to back solution. So a bit more on I guess the philosophy of and our competitive edge or value proposition is that we are all-in-one solution with a true kind of like single database with all the function and also a cloud native solution. So I joined the company about 9 years ago. Actually, I graduated from Lehigh with a master's degree. Back then it was called analytical finance, and now obviously it's now financial engineering. It's very close, I guess, with the engineering back side of it, and also business and finance side of it. So I graduated and got a job at just outside of Philadelphia, working for outsource middle back office company as I support multiple clients of their middle back office solution. And that's when it's the first time I guess got exposure to fintech, the specific field. So my boss, Ryan Carey, was very senior folks at Advent Geneva. So that's the another actually competing product that with Infusion. So later on that I move on to Infusion. That's when I first joined as kind of like a support staff on the desk. I still remember that they hire us for my financial engineering background, and I still remember the first call I had with like a Harvard PhD in math, and we're talking about models and all that. Fast forward in 2015 that we had an opportunity to open up APAC office. So I raised my hand, and the boss, maybe he took a gamble and allow me to run the ground there. And I mean, obviously I make a lot of mistake, but I mean, also being able to build the business from zero to now accounting for 25% of the revenue with 200 clients in the APAC region, covering the whole APAC. Actually, we have Hong Kong office, China, and Singapore, Australia, Japan as well. So yeah, now I focus more on the obviously as a regional head, but I focus more on the business development side of things. But again, the last bit I want to say is that still now I still think that what gives me the success, I think, or what distinguishes myself as compared to other competition and folks at a similar role as I do for Infusion, that distinguish me is that I have a very strong tech background in the sense that the way I pitch product, design the product, help the team design the product, and also sell and position the product. It's very unique, as I was able to, as I teach myself. Basically, at the end of the day, sales is like putting on a show. But if you have the technical background, you are able to make the technical content into a show. Basically, make the system dance for you rather than like just being rely on relationship, and that's very traditional sales. But I mean, it's not exactly a short introduction, Professor. But I guess I do want to share a bit more with the folks on the call, and hopefully my experience will be helpful for everyone. Okay. Any questions for me before we go into the exciting presentation you guys had for today?
Yeah, Bob. How you doing? Hi. Can you
Hey.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I have a question for you. So, you basically volunteered to be the Apex head when the office is opening up for Infusion.
Yeah,
Uh,
I raised my hand and say like that's the thing I want to do. And I was born in China, but actually very close to Hong Kong. So that's more like a homecoming, and I do see the I guess the opportunity back then as the market is open up more. If you're talking about specifically APAC, when I first come to Hong Kong, actually, still the money. I mean, when we talk about hedge funds and all that, it's talking about like how the money is flowing in. Like back then, it's still mostly from the US, from UK. But now, as we see the trend, and actually, if I look at the most recent stats, most of the new launches for hedge funds and asset managers, and most of the money actually come from China now. I would say about 50% now. So yeah, there's a bit of trend, but I wouldn't say that I've done very comprehensive analysis. That's more like an instinct, I guess, to say, look, I mean, that's where I want to go. That's what I think that will kind of like play to my strength, in the sense that I know the culture, I speak the language and all that. But obviously, in the US, the experience gave me in the US is that I learned how to think. I mean, it's very US way, I would say. Like, obviously, I come to Hong Kong, see a lot of like Chinese enterprise, how they manage people, how they think. It's very different. So I guess I have the blessing to actually see both, and actually deep down, I'm still very kind of like the US style. I mean, in one sentence, I would summarize it as only the best idea wins. Okay. Is that your question? Sorry, I keep talking.
yeah. That answered my question. Thank you, Bob.
Hey, Bob. I was wondering, you described the role you have. It sort of sounds a bit to me like a hybrid role between kind of sales and, although primarily focused on sales. So I imagine you didn't do kind of the engineering and programming for this application itself. So I'm curious how you sort of get the right kind of knowledge, and generally speaking, I suppose, in a situation like that. Like, how do you know what to focus on when you're talking with clients, and also get that information and to understand it and be able to speak to it well?
Yeah, great question. So how do we start? I'll say at the beginning I did help. Like, I'll speak from when I started in Hong Kong. It's a US centric product, so I don't know much of the product, of the market. So when I come in, like, obviously they will throw at me like, oh, we do this, we do it this way, we do it that way. So obviously I need to learn, and that's something that I really enjoy. I mean, obviously, luckily that Infusion gave me a lot of support. So basically, when I hear something, for example, let me put it like which one I should use. Let's say, I'm not sure if you guys know about like equity swaps that they do. I mean, like, for example, if you want to access China market, you cannot invest directly because it's restricted currency. You cannot invest in the stock directly, but you can go through the brokers to invest in a kind of like a synthetic form, like a swap. So there's a lot of nuance in there. Like, for example, like US is T2 settle, but the China Connect can be T0, can be T2. So that's one design that I need to tweak. And also, I'm not sure if you guys know about like CNH, CNY difference. One is like offshore, one is onshore. Sometimes the spread is too wide, so that you need to find the right currency to mark to markets that gives you the right P&L. So at the beginning, when they throw the stuff at me, I literally don't know what they're talking about, because the US market is so unified. I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, what do you mean by like two currencies? They are all the same. right? Like issued by the same government and all that. So it was embarrassed, but I guess like don't be afraid to ask. That's something that I think I learned a lot. Like even though as in sales, as my boss always tell us, like sometimes sales don't close deals because they are too shy to ask. Like sometimes question like, okay, when can you sign the contract? It's what all you need to do to get it, right? So to get to your question, I do ask. I do tell them that I don't know what it means. I want to know more, right? This is human nature that would like to help others. So I mean, to answer your question, like I just ask. I just tell them like I don't know what you're talking about. Just explain to me. Right? You have like 10 minutes. Just explain to me, right? And after that, like I would say like the mindset that I had from Infusion is that like, because when we are designing a software, but not a software just for just one firm, for like now for 600 firms. So you cannot just look at one use case. So when I get